Okay, we'll see how this goes. Sounds super loud, but let me adjust some settings here. Probably gonna pick up a bunch of sound from the raw, so we'll see how that goes. But this is the next iteration of a veteran workshop. We are currently live on YouTube, and we are trying this out for the first time because this is a different setting, I guess you could say. We'll see how this goes. Drop frames, dropping a lot of frames for some reason. So I'm not sure how well this is gonna go, but you're gonna hear a lot of background noise and stuff like that because I am at home, but kids is running around, family around, so we're just gonna try to do the best we can with what we got. Hey, good morning, Paul. How you doing today? So yeah, you'll probably hear the kids in the background. Plot with the roses, bro. You the man. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, this is what we do every Sunday noon. I am on YouTube. That's where I usually do all these lives. That's where I get all the. I'm able to show you, like, when people have questions and stuff. Like, this is where you get your entitlements from. This is where this benefit comes from, like all that stuff like that. So it allows you to get a visual on exactly what it is I'm trying to show you and I'm trying to tell you, so that way you can have an actual visual as to what's going on. Because a lot of the times people are big problem that we have with the veteran community is that they get a lot of information from sources that aren't credible, or it's word of mouth, or it's, hey, so and so said this, and they go off of that. But every veteran's information and every veteran's situation is different. So everybody doesn't deal with the same situations. Everybody doesn't have the same disability benefits, doesn't have the same issues when it comes to filing disability. Some people have more muscle pain or muscle issues, stuff like that. Some people have mental health issues. Some people have chronic issues, and it all depends on how you file it, how you go about doing it, in order to make sure that you can get to that 100% rating, which is what everybody strives for, because that's how you get that's the top of the line when it comes to benefits. That's where you are able to obtain all the benefits possible when you get to 100% permanent total. It's not always that you're gonna be able to get there, and that's one thing I gotta tell people. It's just like, it is not an automatic thing that you will get there. Let me see if I can't tilt this down any further. Andres, thank you for the rose. Hold on. Let me see if I can put a sticker and just put veteran Q&A on YouTube. And stickers. Veteran Q&A. YouTube link in bio. That way we have it there. I appreciate all the roses y'all sending. The finger hearts. I appreciate all that. But yeah, this is what we do just to give veterans that possibility and that availability to find information that they need that can benefit them and their families. Not everybody, like I said, not everybody goes through the same situation, and not everything is the same for everyone. Certain people have certain disabilities that are there, but the thing is depending on how you actually claim them can be a big difference also. And that's what a lot of people seem to like they don't always understand that sometimes you have to, it's how you file and what you file that can cause a big difference in your rating. There's many people that end up filing for a rating that isn't correct. So basically, in the manner of, hey, I have this issue, but they file it under a different they just put it in a general context. And the thing is most people don't look into the Code of Federal Regulations, where it'll highlight and it'll tell you what it is you're supposed to file for. So that's something that people need to understand, that not everything so you can file for everything, because the VA will try to cover it or will try to find a way to cover it. The issue being is that a lot of people don't understand that it's just like the diagnostic code. So each thing you file has a diagnostic code. That diagnostic code is basically your way of being able to identify exactly what it is that you're filing for. So if it's a muscle injury or a shoulder injury and stuff like that, there is a diagnostic code for said injury. Like I said, not everything has one. Like for my example, I deal with back spasms. With back spasms, there's no actual diagnostic code that goes for back spasms. You can claim it as back spasms, and that's what the claim is going to go under, but it's not going to be full on like back spasms. There's no diagnostic code for that. Same thing when it comes to back injuries. People have back injuries and they don't understand that you can have upper back injuries and you can have lower back injuries. Those are two different diagnostic codes. So you can file that in two different ways, and you can put it that it's an upper back issue or a lower back issue, and you can get disability claims off of both of those. And that's something that people need to understand also. It's two different claims. So if you just put back injury, they just take it as, hey, it's your back. They don't see it as upper or lower. And then sometimes that's what causes people to get their disabilities not approved or denied or not service connected, because you just put your back. So you didn't specify if it was your upper back or your lower back. And that's something that people need to keep in mind and understand, that it's just like you have to make sure that you know exactly what it is you're placing it as. So if you're placing it as a upper back issue, it's an upper back issue. If it's a lower back issue, it's a lower back issue. If it's your hip, which side of your hip is the one that's causing it? So those are all things that need to be expressed and stated for that to happen, in order for you to actually visualize and get your compensation. Compensation isn't handed to you. Like a lot of people think that tends to be the issue, and it really isn't. When it comes to the VA is going to make you work for whatever it is you're trying to obtain. So whether it's to get that final 10% or that final couple of percentage points to get to 100%, or to get to any other rating, because some people are okay with the ratings that they have. Some people are okay with it, and that's completely fine. There's nothing that says you have to push to get to 100%. The main thing is like you shouldn't be lying about what your conditions are to get a higher rating, and that's the thing that's been ongoing with veterans and the stuff that they keep on doing. A lot of them keep on continuing to sometimes over exaggerate the issues that they have, and it ends up biting them in the ass, because the thing is at the end of the day, some people are going to continue to be reevaluated. So that's something that people need to understand. You need to understand that people are going to be reevaluated at certain points. Once you get to permanent and total, you don't get reevaluated. I guess unless it's something that they believe that you will get reevaluated for, and you might do that. So veterans think that once you get to a certain point, you don't get it. Like they are going to try to reevaluate you because they want to see that you're getting better. The VA doesn't want you to think that you are like you're out clear. The VA wants to make sure that you are getting better, or that the assistance that they're giving you is actually making you better. Some cases, there's no helping that. There's certain issues, and that's why they have issues on claims that are static, which means that if it's a static claim, it means that it won't improve and it won't get any better. Basically, that the VA understands is like no matter what you file, certain ones is just like you have an issue, they will not get better. So that's something that veterans need to understand. Some issues can get better. Sometimes with mental health issues, your rating can change because of the fact that your mental health can get better, or sometimes improves drastically compared to what you were dealing with before. So if you went and saw a therapist, or you went to counseling, or whatever the case may be, your mental health may improve. And that's something that a lot of people don't seem to keep in mind to understand when that happens. It's just like your rating can drop at times because of the fact that, hey, you have improvement. So if you have a shoulder injury and then you went to physical therapy and stuff like that, and then you're reporting that your physical therapy has helped you, you don't have the pain in your shoulder anymore. The VA sees that and they notate that, and that's where they would be able to lower your rating because of that. Because it's just like, oh, okay, you stated that you had shoulders injuries, that you couldn't do this or something. I could do this with my right, I can't do it with my left. But now if I'm able to move my arm when they evaluate it again, it's like, oh, well, there's improvement. So maybe that rating that you had at 30% gets dropped to 10% now. And that's how you lose 20% of rating from doing that. So a lot of people don't understand that and don't pay mind to that, because the thing is you can lose a lot of your rating just off of a CMP exam, which I have a short that's coming out in a couple of weeks, and we'll be making more videos as we go, but we're away from home. As you can see, it's a different background. I don't usually stream here. I'm in New York for the moment, but it's just like trying to still do the lives, because we do this every Sunday. But it's just trying to maximize and let people know, like, hey, there are changes and things that happen, the way you file, the way you go about it. And if you do progress, your rating can change. It's not like these ratings are automatic and they stick, unless it's a static rating where, like I said, the VA understands you're not going to get better. So in the cases of having like degenerative disc disease, if you have degenerative disc disease, it's a known factor that your cartilage between your discs is not going to grow back. It's not going to come back. So that's something that people need to realize, that it's just like, this is something that is not going to come back. This is something that it's there. You're going to have it and you're going to deal with it. And the only recourse is basically that it may get worse over time. It's not going to get better. You're not going to, you are not going to, how can you put it? Your back is not magically going to get better, I guess you could say. And that's something that people need to realize. Your back doesn't magically just get better. It happens. It tends to happen that way. And that goes with a lot of different injuries. Some people have injuries where they do get better and some don't. If you got like knee cartilage that's gone or stuff like that, that's something that won't get better. Like you can get shots, you can get steroid shots, you can get injections, or sometimes you even got to drain your knee. That's stuff that people can claim, and that's stuff that people don't realize that it's a claim. Any injuries that you have that you dealt with while in the military, or an injury that you had while in the military and you got out and it got worse, that's something that you need to understand, that it does that. Some people just fail to realize that, and I think that's one of the bigger issues that we deal with right now, is that some people fail to realize that it's not always available for you to do that. It's not always it's not a simple clause to get veterans to do what they need to do. And that's the thing, is just like trying to do this so that people gain the information and learn from it is the biggest thing you can do, because of the fact that, hey, it's a difficult process for veterans to go ahead and talk about it. And some veterans do talk about it, some don't. Mental health issues. I was in a live a couple of days ago where it was just like talking on men's mental health, and it was just like two-sided conversation, but it was a conversation that we had, and it was literally like somebody just added me that I had just added recently, and it was just like, hey, we can use some of your, just like you, like how I've spoken on it before, and mental health issues, and just like your ratings and stuff like that. Just assisting somebody with that is a big difference and a big change. And just being able to speak about it is something that a lot of people don't do anymore, and they're not used to. So that's something that basically helped out in that manner, just to be able to help people and talk to people about it, and just like give my perspective on it, because I am prior military, so that has an effect on it. Mental health is different with people that have it. There's people that have on this app and multiple platforms that is just like they have mental health issues, and they deal with PTSD, they deal with depression, they deal with anxiety. It doesn't always have to be because of the military. It doesn't always deal with the military being the reason that you deal with mental health issues. A lot of it comes from just your environment where you're at, or maybe a traumatic issue that happened or incident that happened, and that's what causes a lot of issues with that, and people need to realize that. And it's hard to understand that sometimes, because some people don't put those two things together. But when you're a veteran, it's different, because you have that mental stuff that happens within the military that is not something that happens outside of the military. And then you have veterans that deal with it while they're in the military, And then once they get out of the military, they deal with even more stuff that's deteriorating their mental health. So a lot of people, that's why it's like I advocate a lot for mental health in general, not only for men's mental health, but for everyone's mental health. But then I advocate a bit more for veterans because of the fact that we deal with mental health issues that happen and were sustained while serving in the military. And then there's mental health issues that you deal with and are caused outside of the military. So you basically you might end up with a double effect on mental health issues that people don't understand. Some people just see it was just like, some people are ignorant towards it. Some people are disrespectful towards it. Some people don't care. The fact that it's just like, oh, well, you chose to join the military, so now you got to deal with it kind of attitude. So it goes in different perspectives, and it's different things that happen that is just like, it's like, hey, it's up to you on how you go about it. But it's you being able to talk about it, because that's the other thing. With that live, we spoke about men and just like talking about it, and how sometimes when men try to elaborate or speak on their mental health issues, it gets thrown in their face, or they get told they're weak, or they're not strong enough, or you're not acting like a man, stuff like that. That's all stuff that gets said, but that doesn't get announced enough. It doesn't like, yeah, you're a man, you're able to talk on your feelings. Most of the time for men, it's just like, hey, when you're talking on your feelings, the thought process and the feeling is just like, hey, nobody gives a shit. Nobody really cares what you got to say. Nobody cares about your feelings. It's more of a, hey, man up, keep it going, and move forward. And then I think that's the problem with a lot of places. Just like, that doesn't get spoken enough. A lot of people don't talk about that enough, where it's just like, hey, you need to talk about it. And the other thing was, it's just like, some people are hesitant to talk on the issue. Like, I have no issue talking about my mental health. I'm strong-minded enough that I don't care about what other people say about what I say about my mental health and how I deal with it. Some people may see it as, oh, you're less of a man, or whatever the case. That's on them. That's their problem. That isn't my problem. If you see me that way, I still fight you if I need to. It's simple like that. Not to like try to incite violence or say that's a remedy, but that's why sometimes some people think that that's what makes you manly enough to do it and stuff like that. Which, you got to throw hands, you got to throw hands. It's not going to make me any different because I have mental health issues or not. It may make me even tougher because of the fact that I got more stuff, that I got anger pent up that I need to get rid of. So that's what people don't understand. It can go both ways. It can help somebody climb up, or it can help somebody like open up about it. But just not being able to talk about it, and veterans being hesitant to speak on the issues, is what causes a lot of these problems that we have. There's not enough talk on it. There's not enough expression on it. There's not enough elaboration on it for being able to speak on the issues, and not being hesitant or scared to speak on the issues. And that's what it is, I think, with a lot of veterans, that a lot of veterans have that issue where Hugh Bizzle inspires me. My mom does. And it's a birthday. So shout out to mom. She's sitting right over there. Shout out to my mom. That's who inspires me. But it's just being able to talk on the issue. It's what makes it difficult. A lot of veterans don't feel like they are able to talk, or a lot of people downplay it. And that's why I think we have a lot of issues where it's a lot of distrust and hate about you on that. And that's the thing that people don't understand. It comes from the fact that it's just like, you are trying to be a person that does what you can and elaborates on it. And that's the big thing. It's just like being able to talk on those issues. It's what's making men more difficult to come out of it. Like I said, mental health is an issue that veterans deal with on an extensive basis. The thing is we don't have the resources that people think. People just think it's just like, oh, you have the, how can I put it? You have the resources. You got free healthcare, stuff like that. That's what people believe in, and that's what people think. And the thing is just like, it's not as free or as readily available or as good as people think it is. It's just like, that's what people think. And it's just like, it is what it is. That's my answer to y'all. It is what it is. Glasses. But that's what people need to realize. It's just like, you need to be able to speak on those issues and talk about it. Because the thing is, a lot of people don't understand that. a lot of people don't understand that it's just like you have the ability to help people, but they have to be able to talk about the issues that they have. And that's where we have the problem where a lot of people don't speak on the issues that they have when it comes to mental health. Um, Veterans don't, and veterans are the number one case of it. And then a lot of them become angry or they become aggressive. And a lot of times it happens and it stems from just not knowing where they have to go or what resources they have. And that affects veterans even more. Because the fact is, like, you can see with all the toxicity that's around veterans. And people just be like, they're surprised because we'll shoot the shit with veterans, we'll talk shit and all that stuff. But then there's people that are actually upset at other veterans because they get benefits that they don't, or they receive benefits because they don't. But the thing is, just like instead of educating themselves, they don't educate themselves to learn what they have to do. I was just like, one of the biggest issues is like, oh, well, I deployed here, this, and that, and I had this issue. I have these mental health issues. A lot of people will just be like, hey, you deal with PTSD, but you don't deal with it that bad. You don't look that bad. Look, you're able to do lives and stuff like that. And it was just like, I don't show all my PTSD on live. I've spoken on it with live and I've had it with other people and I've spoken about it. And it's just like, it depends on who you talk to. Everybody's PTSD doesn't trigger the same way. Some people, it's, hey, me in a vehicle triggers me a lot. You ain't going to see that. I've done it. I did a couple of lives driving, and that actually helped me concentrate because it kept my mind off of everything else going on around me. And some people don't see it that way. Some people, you have PTSD that it goes from certain places. Like if you ask most veterans don't like going to eat, don't like to eat out. And if they do go to eat out, you see that they sit themselves in a certain place or a certain angle that they can view what's going on around them. That's something that gets ingrained into you, and it's hard to get rid of that. So you're always like, who goes out to eat at a restaurant and they're all jittery? Like, you don't even get to enjoy the food. It could be the best food that you got served, but you get all jittery at the fact that it's just like, oh shit, there's this entrance, there's that entrance, there's this exit. And it's like, you see that and people understand that. And then it's just like, okay, but somebody from the outside just sees somebody that doesn't know who it is. And they look at him and say, man, this dude is just fidgety as hell for no damn reason. Like, what the hell is wrong with him? Most of the time, that's a damn veteran. And if you see him in a booth, in a corner, it's a veteran because he's making sure that he can see everything around him and stuff like that. Because sometimes it gets ingrained into you. It's just like, people don't understand, like, joining the military, for some, it does institutionalize you. The same way some people, when they go to prison, it institutionalizes them, that they don't understand and they don't see the issues at hand. And it's just like, okay, they get used to doing the same thing over and over again. They get used to a certain schedule. They get used to the gang violence or all the stuff like that. They get used to that stuff. And then they think when they get out, that's what it's supposed to be like. They get so used to it that it's just like they don't know how to interact with people or deal with stuff on the outside. Same thing happens with the military. Some people are just like, hey, they joined at 18. They didn't have a mind of their own. They got influenced and they got taught how to do things because that's what they taught. That's what they got taught. That's what they got shown. That's how they got accepted into the military. You go through basic training. It's basically breaking you down to make sure you're a soldier. You follow orders. You follow directions and stuff like that. For some people that never had that kind of direction and never had that kind of mentality, it's hard for people to do that because it's just like, hey, you are now being told this is how you go about things. This is how you go. Hey, this is how you make sure you fold your bed every day. Every morning, you had to fold your bed in a certain way with a damn 45-degree angle on the corner. And if you didn't do that, you know what would happen? They would take your shit and they would flip it. They would literally flip your bed and throw it off. And if you left let's not even say if you left your locker open. If you left your locker open with all your shit in it, you came back, all your shit was thrown around the whole bay. And it's like a sleeping bay. So it's a good afternoon, Wild Rose. But people don't understand it. It's just like, it's a whole bay. Let's say you're sleeping in an open bay where there's maybe like 30 something people. You got 16 on one side. Well, yeah, maybe like 40 people in a bay, or maybe like 30 something people in a bay, which half of them are sleeping in bunk beds across from you, and then half of them are sleeping in bunk beds on one side of you. And it's just like, you would go in there, they would go and check your thing. If you went out to training or something like that, and you left your locker unlocked, so everybody had to have a lock on their lock. If your shit was unlocked, you came back and all your shit was thrown around the whole room. So you literally had to go and find all your shit that was thrown out, whether it was socks, uniform, belts, stuff like that. And all that stuff was just thrown out all over. And it was just like, now you got to find your shit. This is a lesson not to make sure you don't throw your shit out, or you make sure your shit is secure and locked. And it's just like, you think about it, and it's just like, why the hell do I have to secure my shit all the time? It's just like, because not everybody comes up the same. Some people are kleptomaniacs that they just want to grab shit and take shit, and you don't understand that until you're in the military. Some people don't have. See, look, my wife just said basically that she lost half her underwear when she went to like a training thing. Like half her underwear. Like look, there's one person right now that I seen. I'm good friends with him and shit. But what I ended up doing was neither. What I ended up doing was I took my name tape, because you get a name tape which has like your first initial, your last name, and then the last four of your social. And you get to put that on all your stuff. So you get to put that on your laundry bag. You get to put that on all the different stuff you put it on. So you do that. I decided, you know what? Ain't nobody taking any of my shit. I started putting it on, like, because we still wore white socks. We weren't able to wear black socks then. That's something that just... So I put that shit on my sock. Come to find out, like 2 years after basic training, I had one of my friends send me a picture of him wearing my fucking sock with fucking Cruise on it. Good friend, cool peoples. And I was like, this son of a bitch. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, really, bro? And he was just like, hey, man, I miss you, bro. I was just like, what the fuck? But it was just like, and there was somebody that it was just like, I was cool with, but he ended up with my sock and sent me a picture of Cruise on his foot wearing it. And I was just like, this motherfucker. So it's just like, those little lessons and stuff like that, people don't actually understand and don't learn all the time because they don't see that shit. You don't understand that. It was just like, really, you took my sock, bro? Like, my sock. So that happened a lot, because it was just like some people, it was just like some people would rip, because the thing is you got a little allowance to purchase more stuff if you need it. But the thing is some people didn't want to spend no money, so why spend money when I could take your shit? And that was a mentality a lot of people had. It was because that's where the saying comes. There's only one thief in the army, or there's only one thief in the military. Everybody else is just trying to get their shit back, and that's where it comes from. Because basically, you would have people that would take your stuff, steal your stuff, claim it theirs. But then if you didn't have it marked at anything, how you gonna know what a white sock looks like? Everybody got the white socks because we all bought them from the same store. So everybody's sock looks the same. You ain't gonna tell the difference. Or if somebody takes one of your army shirts, it just says army across it. You don't know if that's your shirt or not if it ends up missing. So it's just like, if you're doing laundry, you staying by your laundry. I was just like, there's times it's just like, if you did laundry and you didn't stay by it, you didn't have a laundry to come back to, because people would just rummage. Oh shit, hey bro, that's a new t-shirt. Let me hold that. New pants here. Oh yeah. See, my wife didn't even go through the military. She didn't experience all of it, but she was just like, yeah. So it was a military thing, but and using other people's clothing. Bruh, it wasn't even like using other people's clothing. It was, you would literally have people that if they had to wash their clothes, they would take out your clothes. They took out your clothes to make sure that their clothes was washed. So your clothing could have been half washed and somebody would have taken their shit out, restarted the cycle just because they wanted to get more time and they wanted to wash their shit. So it's like, you had to learn. It was just like, hey, whatever you're doing, if you're doing laundry, you stopping whatever else you're doing. Some people, it was free time. Like, you barely have free time. A lot of people went to church for free time. And a lot of people would go to church, like religious services, just to get sleep. Because they didn't let you sleep. You were up at like 4 a.m, training all damn day in a hot ass sun. And then it was just like, your free time was literally sleep. And then depending on when you got to sleep, because they had, you had to pull fire guard, which is like, you have to guard the building from burning the fuck down. To this day, that shit still happens, and I'm still trying to figure out why the fuck we do this. You got fire alarms. You got cameras. if the fucking fire goes off, the fire alarm is gonna go off. Why am I staying up for this? Like, a lot of the stuff is like older generation stuff that is just like some things the military just doesn't believe they need to adapt in, and some of it is just like dumb. It was just like, you got fire alarms now. So you got fire alarms. You should be able, if the fire goes off, if there's a fire, the fire alarm will go off and the sprinkler system will go off. The best bet is to get the fuck out the building. Just because you're staying awake doesn't mean you're going to stop the fire. Because if somebody wants to start a fire, somebody's going to start a fire. You got pyromaniacs that join the military. You got kleptomaniacs that join the military. You got people from all facets of life that deal with it, and for some people it's a culture shock. For some people it's a culture shock to join these things and deal with it, because a lot of people don't understand. It's just like, this is what you do to go through. Okay, this is what a lot of people go through to be in the military and actually graduate from the military. So a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people just think, they're patriotic, or they do this stuff and they say that stuff, and it's just like, a lot of people say a lot of things that is just like, oh, I'm a patriot. Serve the country then. You tell them that, a lot of people get offensive, like, oh, well, I don't know. I was just like, you got all the what is it, the main thing? I was like, oh, if a drill sergeant would have talked to me like that, I would punch him in the face. No, the fuck you wouldn't. Those are the biggest liars. Those are the ones that speak the loudest too, or try to speak the loudest. So they'd be like, oh, I would have punched the drill sergeant in his face. You wouldn't have punched a drill sergeant in his face, because they would have kicked your fucking ass. And it would have been a stomping that you would have gone. Hey, appreciate you, Apple. But that's something that people don't understand. It was just like, you ain't punching nobody in the face. Everybody was hardcore. You had people that were thugs and not thugs. You had people that were just soft as shit, but they still mold you into being a soldier. No matter what, you had people that come from, like I said, you have people that come from all over the world, all over the states, all over the country. And it's just like, you don't understand that fact that it's just like, this is what happens in the military. They try to make you so that you are a soldier. You follow, you have that discipline, because some people don't have no discipline. Depending on when you join, especially, like, hey, some people join the military and it's just like, hey, you join without any like discipline. Not saying that you have no discipline, but like your parents are like, laid back and stuff. You weren't doing your own laundry. You weren't washing your clothes. You weren't taking care of your uniform. You weren't making sure all of that stuff. You weren't making sure all your shit was supposed to be where it's supposed to be at. And that's a culture shock for a lot of people, because it's just like, damn, I got to wash my own clothes. I was like, I never washed before. There's people that I had to show how to shave because somebody didn't know how to fucking shave. And it was just like, you can't have no facial hair. Some people were just like all chopped up in the cheeks and stuff like that. And it was like, bro, what did you do? I was just like, oh, I was trying to shave. It was like, hey, bro, let me show you how to shave. Some people don't get taught that. Some people don't know that. And then it's just like, oh, you don't got a thing? Hey, man, we're going to smoke the dog shit out of you because you didn't shave. Some people don't know how to shave. Some people don't know how to do laundry. Some people don't know how to use a damn mop. Now you got all these high tech, you got like Roombas and all this shit that do it for you. But a lot of people grew up not having that. A lot of people grew up not having all that stuff being done. So it's not for, everybody says it's not for them. The thing is you got a lot of people that say, oh, it's just like, oh, I would have done it. I would have been able to. It's just like, it's like that. But from that point on, you already start having mental health issues. And a lot of people don't understand that. Just the fact that it's just like, your anxiety starts kicking up for no fucking reason when it comes to you being in the military. I need to make sure my shit is clean. Which you should always make sure your shit is clean. But that anxiety that kicks in, like, shit, I need to wash my shit. Like, I can't have this dirty. I need to shave. I need to do that shit. That shit kicks in your anxiety for no fucking reason. Oh, sleep. Oh, well, my wife says sleep deprivation. That alone does shit to your mental health. If people don't talk, like, you become, insomnia is a thing. People don't understand that. That's something you can claim. That's something you can claim, and that's something that people don't talk about either. It's just like, you got insomnia, you got insomnia, you got the sleep deprivation does a lot to you, because it's like, a lot of people don't act the same when they sleep, when they don't sleep. Some people get agitated as shit. Some people get angry. Some people get aggressive. But imagine being in a fucking bay of like 30-something males and you don't know what the fuck you're dealing with. You had one kid that did not want to shower. He got kicked out. He didn't make it through. But you had one kid that did not want to shower and he got kicked out of basic because the man did not want to shower. He did not want to shower in an open bay. He wasn't used to being in an open bay. It was like, you get used to showering in your own shower at home, your own privacy, and now you got to jump in the bay with like 7 other dudes trying to take a shower, and you in there showering and shit. It's just like, if you're not used to that, that's fucking a brain shock that most people don't talk about. I was like, yeah, if you played sports and stuff like that, you had like the football locker room, basketball locker room, baseball locker room, you get used to it. It happens. But this is your first instance where it's just like you get to a place. Hey, Crystal, thank you for sharing the live. People don't understand that. That's a mental shock for a lot of people that happens. That you are going to a place where you never bathed with anybody else. Now you have to bathe in front or around other people. And some people, what they would try to do is they would try to just like shower after everyone else. But then at times that makes you late. And if you get late, you get smoked. And smoked is basically you do physical exercise till the drill sergeants decided, all right, we good. We good. We're tired of watching you do so much exercise. So we'll stop now, kind of stuff. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's just like those things are things that happen. But like I said, that goes into like the mental health, talking about it. It's just like a lot of people don't talk about the mental health issues that comes from that. Like I said, anxiety kicks in when you have to... Anxiety kicks in when you have to deal with all that stuff. You have to make sure your clothes is good. Make sure your uniform is good. Make sure you shaved correctly. Make sure you don't got no little hairs or something like that. Because people will get on you. The drill sergeants will get on you off of those little things. And it's just like that starts a panic mode in your mentality when you keep dealing with that, where it's just like, shit, I forgot to shave. Fuck, we're gonna get smoked. And then sometimes you have issues with certain people in your bay. For me, I happen to luck out and get the worst fucking guy as my bunkmate. Alan, I love you. I don't know where you at right now. I love you though. But this kid would make us late for everything. This kid would never wake up on time. It took like the whole bay tried to help me. Because most of the time, like, it was me and another kid that we were older already. So we knew how to clean, we knew how to shave, we knew how to do laundry and all that stuff. So we were basically like the pops, or they called us. It was just like we would just help. Like a lot of people come on the lives and be like, "Hey, Unc," that's what basically I was. But then just teaching people that people didn't understand that. It was just like you got to show certain people stuff. But this kid would always not wake up on time. You would have the bay like, "Yo, wake up, bro! It's time to get up. Time to get up. Hey, get ready." Stuff like that. And everybody was like trying to help me because it was just like I was always assisting people. And we were just like, all right, let's get this guy ready so we don't get shit smoked out of us. And that was something there dealing with that it was just like, this kid did not want to fix himself. But everybody tried to fix him. Everybody tried to help. Everybody tried to do what they could. And then it got to the point where it was like, you know what, bro? We already know we're about to get smoked. We're about to go through this shit. We don't give a damn. And we just let the kid be. And then after that, once I guess, like, he realized, I think it took us not giving a shit for him to realize, like, damn, nobody's talking to me now. Like, we just literally started ignoring the guy. Like, it was just like, you know what, we're going to be late. We going to make sure we're good to go, and we're going to go. And then all of a sudden, he started picking it up. And he started realizing, like, oh, shit, I need to fix myself. I need to get up on time and stuff like that. Next thing you know, this kid was up before us. And ready to go and downstairs and shit, and we just still waking up like, where the fuck is this guy? And we would start worrying like, damn, where the hell is this guy at? And this dude was just like downstairs, literally ready to go, and he was waiting on us now when it was usually us waiting on him. So that changed his perspective and his mentality, but he wasn't used to that. He wasn't used to people helping him all the time. I guess he was more used to just like, hey, do it on your own kind of shit, but it didn't click with him because everybody was trying to assist him. So it was just like, all right, we're gonna go away from that. It's those things that people don't talk about with mental health when it comes to their disability claims. All that shit happens. All that shit is part of it. And that shit happens on a level that most people don't understand. It's just like, all that stuff is stuff that happens, but most people don't talk about it. There's no, how can I put it? There's no documentation for that shit. There's no documentation for you being in culture shock. Unless you go to behavioral health and talk about it, there's no documentation of you going through culture shock while joining the military. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand. It's just like, and the military understands, is like, you're going to have mental health issues. The military understands that. The thing is that you got to make sure you document it, because if you don't document the mental health issues, to the military is basically non-existent. To the VA, it's non-existent. You don't have that info there. You don't have that documentation. And that leads to the issues with veterans. It's just like, yeah, you went through all this. You might have gone through PTSD, you went through that traumatic issue, you might have had a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, you might have been blown up on a convoy or whatever the case may be. If you don't talk about it and you don't have the notation or the notifications for people to see that, or the documentation for people to see that, it doesn't matter to people. The VA is not going to go out of their way to do research for you. And that's what a lot of veterans don't understand when it comes to the veteran disability stuff. It's just like, you have to make sure you are obtaining the information you need to progress, to proceed, to show that it's just like, hey, I went through this in the military. But you need the documentation. You need to research the stuff. You need to find it, whether it's through most of the time it's just even through a buddy statement. You just telling a buddy like, hey, can you write a statement of just like, hey, what you experienced or what we experienced in this time or when it happened and stuff like that, and how it's affected you and how it's affected me when this happened. And people don't understand that those statements and those letters count for something, because the thing is now you have somebody corroborating what happened to you. Now, if you have somebody corroborating what happened to you, that's evidence that you can provide for your disability claim. Like I said, most people don't talk about the stuff they went through in basic training. If you ask a whole bunch of veterans, they remember it, bits and pieces. But the effect that it has on them, nobody ever really asks a veteran that. I was just like, how did your basic training experience change you? And that's a question that a lot of people don't get asked. A lot of veterans don't get asked that. It was just like, oh, because most people don't think about it that way, because it's just like they think about the times after basic training. But that's something that people need to realize. You will go through things while in basic training that people don't realize, people don't see, people don't understand, and then they don't deal with it. And it's just something that people need to realize, that it's just like, you need to have it documented. That's what I say for like active duty service members. It's just like, right now you ain't dealing with anything that you think of, that you know of, but you need to get it documented. You need to go to the doctor. You need to go to behavioral health. You need to go to sick call, at least Army wise. I don't know what they call it for the other branches, but it's just like, you have to make sure that you're doing that stuff in order to know what's going on, because a lot of the times people don't know what to write or what to say, and that has an effect also when you go to your compensation and pension exams. A lot of people don't understand. It's just like, what you say in your examinations is a big factor on your disability rating when it comes to stating how it affects you. A lot of people just be like, hey, I feel fine today. I was just like, no, you don't say that. You don't say that you feel fine today, because the thing is some days you feel good, some days you don't. What you talk about are those days that are the worst. Those worst days that you deal with, those bad days that you deal with, that's what you talk about when you're at the CMP exam. It's not like, oh, today I feel good. It's like, no, when I deal with the issues, this is how I feel. I don't leave my house. I don't like interacting with people. I get agitated quickly when I see certain things, or when somebody talks to me, I get aggressive, stuff like that. Those are the things that you need to mention at those CMP exams that a lot of veterans don't understand. A lot of veterans just talk about a certain instance, and it's just like, no, you have to make sure you are writing down all the stuff you deal with and all the mental health issues that you have dealt with, and putting it down in a list and making sure like, hey, this is what I dealt with. This is what happened. This is the day it happened. These are how my days are. Like, I wake up in the morning, I deal with this, I deal with that. I'm depressed most of the time. I deal with anxiety a lot of the times. Like, that's the stuff that people don't speak about enough when it comes to those CMP exams, and that's where they end up losing out. Because the thing is you need to talk about what your day is and how it's affecting you on a daily basis. Not, hey, you walked in today and you feel, you know what, I feel good today. There's days like that you feel good today, and then there's days that you're depressed as shit that you don't even want to leave your room or your bed. Those are the days you have to speak on, and those are the days that you have to let the evaluator know, or that CMP examiner know, like, this is what I'm dealing with. When you talk to, because the thing is, most of the time when you do the mental health claim, they will send you to a mental health provider, whether it's a counselor or a therapist, whoever it is that they send you to. They evaluate you on your mental health. That's who you have to explain to, and that's who you have to talk to and tell them, like, hey, this is what I deal with on a daily basis. I deal with the fact that, hey, I get stuck in my house. I can't leave my house. I go outside. I get agitated when I see too many people, or when I see too much movement or too many things going on. Like, when you see certain things that happen, some things might trigger you, and that's what you need to tell the evaluator on. That's what you need to speak on. Not the days when you're doing all right. It's the days when you are at your worst. That's when you got to make sure that your evaluator knows what you're talking about. And that's what a lot of veterans fail to do. A lot of veterans don't do that. A lot of veterans just think it's just like, oh, well, I'm claiming that I have depression, and they're not going to take your word for it. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Just because you say, oh, I'm depressed, I deal with anxiety, I deal with this, stuff like that. If you don't got no medication that shows you that, if you don't have medication that shows you deal with anxiety or you deal with depression and stuff like that, you got to find a way to document that, or have a therapist. Like I said, if you have documentation from therapists, because I got diagnosed with PTSD, and that was off of my therapist. My first therapist was talking to me, and then they found the information, and they was just like, you have the symptoms and what you sound like. And he evaluated me and was just like, no, you got PTSD. This isn't just like depressive disorder. You got PTSD. And then they referred me to another therapist that specializes in PTSD, and they do the rapid eye movement. I forget what it's called, but I got moved to that area basically to try to assist me with that. But that's documented. And what I did was I had them show, like, I filed for an increase and I filed for PTSD, but I had them go and get the documentation from the therapist, because that was who the VA sent me to see, because it was a community care. So that's who I saw. That's who had my information. And then that information was sent over to them. And I had my documentation that way, basically saying like, hey, you've been diagnosed with PTSD. You have it. You had major depressive disorder. You have that. But now that you have PTSD, we have the documentation showing that you have that. And that's what people don't realize. It's just like, you having that paperwork and you having that timeline showing the things and those changes is what allows you to get an increase. It allows you to file for an increase. It allows you to actually file a claim on the issue. A lot of people don't understand that it's just like, if you don't file for the stuff, the VA won't. It's very rare to have a VA rater actually file something for you that you yourself did not file. Sometimes they do it because it's just like, okay, this is pertaining to this, so he's dealing with this issue. Like in my case, I deal with an ankle injury, but I also, I guess, have shin splints. But it's the ankle that causes shin splints on my fucking leg, because I don't deal with it on my other side. But it was because of my ankle injury that it came about more. So it was just like that happened, and it's just like, okay, the VA rater went ahead and documented it, asked me the questions about it, and she filed for shin splints. Shin splints is not something that is a diagnostic code. It doesn't have a diagnostic code. It has it there, but you can go get therapy. If you talk to your primary, after that, your VA primary, you can go and get sleeves if you need to do, or compression stuff for that, and the VA will take care of it. But the thing is me just claiming and filing for the ankle injury, she went and checked for the ankle injury, but then saw, okay, you're dealing with shin splints also, so she put that on there. She didn't have to do that. I didn't even know she was going to do that, because she didn't mention that to me, that she was going to file that for me. But that was put into my claim, and then that shows, it's like, okay, if I have anything to do with, or any injuries that pertain and keep on coming because of the shin splints, it is now on my record. Now, she didn't have to do that. I could have done that, but I didn't know I could have filed for shin splints because I didn't know it was fucking shin splints. I just know it was injury from my ankle, but I would get pain in my lower leg, and sometimes it'd go to the upper leg. And she's like, yeah, you're dealing with shin splints, and that's what it is. And that's what people don't understand. It's just like the VA, when you get rated, a lot of people think that you're going to get your information from them. They're not there to diagnose you. They are not there to tell you what's wrong with you. They are there to check on what you said was wrong with you. And that's where a lot of people tend to mess it up. A lot of people tend to forget that it's just like the VA rater is there to figure out what you said was wrong with you, not to develop other things. It's just like, hey, what did you say was wrong with you? Oh, you said your back was hurting or you had a back injury. Okay, let's evaluate your back. You could have had other stuff. They're there. You said it was, hey, I don't know what's up, man. You said that your back was the injury. You said your back was the issue. The VA rater is there to evaluate your back. They don't give a damn about anything else. If that's the only claim you put in and you say, hey, I am here because I have back issues, I have upper pain or whatever, or stuff like that, that's what they evaluate you on. They're not going to go and try to evaluate you further and see what else and what other issues you have that pertain or are being caused for your back. If you don't claim it, the VA rater is not for that. And that's what people need to understand also. The VA rater is not there to find all the other issues. If you have, like, let's say you have lower back pain and that causes your sciatica to flare up, or that's a sciatica issue that you have because of your lower back pain, but you didn't file for the sciatica. You filed for your lower back. They're going to go and check the evidence for your lower back. You may have sciatica. You may have it, but you didn't file for it. The VA rater is not made to do that. Question is, what if I get addicted to something during service? So when it comes to addiction in a thing like there's substance abuse, there's usually like alcohol. Some people become alcoholics while being in the thing. That is something that you can file and claim for as being a service member that is a substance abuse user when it comes to alcohol. With some, it comes to medication. Some, it does happen where it's just like they had a major surgery and they get used to those painkillers that they give them while they're at the hospital. Sometimes they keep on getting it, sometimes they don't, but that's something that people file for. Most of the time, the military will just prescribe you fucking Motrin and water. That is a fucking go-to. Or just like ibuprofen and water, or naproxen and water, and you'll be all right. But if it's like a major surgery and stuff like that, you're going to get the painkillers and then you're going to get into the stuff. But you can file that you have PTSD or I don't think it's PTSD. I forget what exactly it is, but you can file for substance abuse when it comes to being an alcoholic for it. That's something that people file for, but most people don't know that you can do that. I forget. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna search for it. I don't have my bookmarks and stuff, so this is on a laptop, so this will be interesting. But that's like substance abuse is something that does happen that people don't speak on. Let's see what alcohol does. I don't know if it would be 38. Search for that. It does include other substances. Hold on, I'm trying to find it so I can pull it up. No, that's not it. Hold on, I can share the thing on here so that people can see it. What I'm searching for also, so it makes it easier. I don't know if like you're watching it because I know you're on TikTok, but if you see it, if I have the YouTube, you can watch it on the YouTube, and I can show you my screen. Like with the phone, it's kind of limited, but I appreciate the questions because this is what I do it for, so that people can ask questions and I can go and we can look it up and actually learn something from it. Part one. The stars. Applicability, definitions. I'm trying to see because there's nothing that pinpoints it. Because I have it there, but let's see. Table of contents, functional impairment, woman. Disability ratings, organs, diseases. So I'm not going to be able to find it this way. So I'm going to have to search for it. Alcohol abuse. And then put this in Title 38. See what this says. Applicability. Restrictions on discretion on disclosure and these related to information. Trying to find where else we can find the information, because I know it is something that the result is because it just has it in chapter 1 and I needed chapter 1 part 4. 3.1. Let's see substance abuse. See how that works. Because like I said, when it comes to it, it's difficult and you have to specify what it is that you're looking for. Treatment. Gotta verify the live for some reason. And then my camera's at 41%, so we might end up switching it off and then switching batteries, but let's see. Best consider relating to service connection and presumption sound. The veteran will be considered to have been in good sound condition when examining accepted. The development of evidence in connection with claims of service will be accomplished. No. So this is where it's difficult to find the stuff because it's just like all this information is here, but it's just like actually finding it is what makes it so difficult for veterans to get the information they need. Alcohol abuse. The term alcohol abuse means the use of an alcohol which impairs the physical and mental decision making. Title 38, Chapter 1. Can I search with it when the thing here? Table of contents. See, so that's you brought up a good question. I'm just trying to figure it out right now, because as you can see, it's not populating, and we're trying to figure out where it is. Because I have seen people file for it, That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to find. It's just not populating. That's the thing. So that's what I'm trying. Let's see, alcohol. So token alcohol testing, PXC strength. See, it goes into the different CFR. Alcohol, substance abuse. That actually reminds me. Did you hear that a soldier took his entire squad to amphetamines and went on a 2-week long? That's the thing. It does. I did not hear about that, but it is something that does happen. It's just like that's why they try to make sure, hey, you're securing your stuff. Because the thing is that's a offense for you taking somebody else's medication in the military. That's UCMJ, Universal Code of Military Justice. You will get a punishment and receive that for taking somebody else's medication. So basically, if I get prescribed something and you end up taking it, you're going to get in trouble for it. And I myself might get in trouble for the fact that I wasn't taking care of my medication and making sure that my medication was secured and wasn't being able or accessed by somebody else. Because it happens all the time where people will give their medication to somebody else just because it's like, hey, I don't need it anymore. You can use it. But then if a person does a urinary analysis, which they do randomly each month, which that's always a good case in point. It'll show that, and sometimes it'll show like, hey, why do you have this drug in your system? And then either they say why they have it, and they just say why they got it, or sometimes they don't say that. So nothing for, let's see, substance abuse. Part 4. Nothing shows up for substance abuse in part 4. Alcohol. Search. Nothing shows up. Interesting. In the Code of Federal Regulations. So that's interesting. The dudes on that's the news on. And like I said, it happens like that because people do take other people's medication. That shit happens all the time. Now the thing is like depending on how they go about it, what they do with it, because sometimes it's painkillers that mostly do that. When people get like morphine or they get the Percocets and stuff like that, that's what people go. Most of the time, people get that, but those are limited doses that the military gives you. That's why they always refer you to ibuprofen or naproxen and stuff like that, because they don't want you to have one of those controlled drugs out and use them all the time. Because some people are just like, hey, they ask for it and they don't. Like when I got my teeth done, I was just like, I have a higher tolerance for medication and for pain. But with my teeth, that shit don't work. So they had to numb the shit out of me, and they gave me twice the amount to actually numb my teeth out. Because they were doing it, I was just like, because most of the time they'll try to like probe you to see like, okay, where am I touching right now? And what she tried to do was like, she tried to trick me to see if I was like lying about it and stuff. So she was poking my top part of my mouth. But she was like, hey, so is the bottom numb? I was just like, you're not touching my bottom, you're touching my top. She was like, oh, okay, you are kind of, and then she just pumped some more into my mouth, and I was just like, okay, because she just thought it was just like some people just like the high of getting on drugs, because you can't be on drugs while in the military. So some people was just like, hey, well, if I'm at the dentist and they do that, but she was like probing me. I was just like, so how's your bottom? I was just like, but you're touching my top. I don't know how my bottom is. You're not touching it. And she was like, oh, okay, because she numbed the bottom and she tapped it and I ain't say nothing. So she did it to the top, and she kept on going like she was doing the same spot, and I felt it on the top, and I was just like, no, the top is still, I can still feel it. And then it was like, okay, then she pumped some more into me, but it depends. I was like, for some reason, it's not showing up on Title 34. Let's go back. Part 4. Table of contents for this page should be a diagnostic of numerical index of disabilities. because this is numerically how they have it. Musculoskeletal. Because I think it does fall under mental health. Respiratory, lungs, cardiovascular. That's the digestive. And still join the military, like for example, melanoma. Most of the time, so the question was, can you have a serious illness and still join the military, like for example, melanoma or AIDS? Most of the time, the military will refrain from doing that. There have been service members that have been HIV positive that are in there, but most of the time they get that they try to do that away, because the thing is like, if it's harder to take care of the person, and the military considers it like kind of like a bigger burden for them to make sure you're doing that. Like, let's say like some people join and they end up with diabetes. I had a staff sergeant, which was my first leader, that basically she had diabetes and she was forced out of the military because of her diabetes. So it depends on how bad the situation is and how it is. Like, if you have to get injections and shots and all that stuff, most of the time they try to shy away from that, because it's just like, you know what, that's something that you have to do. And it's just like, you won't be as effective in the military, because like, hey, if you got to get shots all the time, that means we can't deploy you. We can't send you here. We can't send you there. If you go on training exercise, you got to and that's what happens in that way. Chronic adjustment, specify conversion, illness, depersonalization, dissociative panic, post-traumatic. See, look, major mild disorder due to HIV or other infections. So it is there, but that's more for the mental issues that arise from it. See, it doesn't have it here. Let's just look it up. Alcohol abuse, diagnostic code, veteran affairs. Search it this way. This is old though, so I don't like going on like super old. Service connecting alcoholism or thing. So this is something that came out in 2023. But the thing is, you can see that there's a lot. If you search for, you can find a lot of examples of these issues that happen when it comes to it. So you can find a bunch of answers and a bunch of questions that pertain to when it comes to service connection and stuff like that. Because sometimes there's certain examples like these texts. Excess of 50% for post-traumatic. Oh, there it goes. So post-traumatic stress disorder with alcohol dependence. So that's what they claim it as. So it's basically you have your alcohol, because basically what they're trying to say is that you have to prove that the alcoholism arose from your time in the military service. It's not that you just became an alcoholic just to become an alcoholic. Like, some people just drink and they drink, but they're not alcoholics. Some people develop the drinking because of an issue. Most of the time, that's a lot of veterans that they lost another service member in front of them, or something happened while they were deployed, whether it was a IED or whatever the case may be. Something like that happened in front of them, and that's something that they deal with, and that resorted and caused them to start drinking, and they became alcoholics for it. So that's why in this thing right here, it says entitlement to an initial disability rating in excess of 50% for post-traumatic stress disorder with alcohol dependence. This is the unemployability, which is different, but that's what it goes. It goes from PTSD because you have to show that it was caused by a certain reason. It's not that you just are an alcoholic, but let's see. This is old. No, I do not want to. Advertising. VA and disability and alcoholism. This was in updated June 2024. Alcohol. So Here's a breakdown for you. I don't know. This will explain it better. Alcohol use disorder or alcoholism is a pattern of alcohol that involves problems controlling drinking, being preoccupied with alcohol, continuing to use alcohol even when it causes problems, having to drink more to get the same effect, and having withdrawal symptoms when you rapidly decrease or stop drinking. Symptoms of alcoholism can range from mild to severe and may include the following. So that's the breakdown of it. VA's definition of alcohol abuse. In order to understand how the Department of Veteran Affairs adjudicates claims for alcoholism, it is important to first understand how it defines alcohol abuse. According to VA, alcohol abuse is the use of alcoholic beverages over time or such excessive use at any one time sufficient to cause disability or death of the user. Importantly, consuming an alcoholic beverage does not constitute alcohol abuse. Instead, alcohol abuse is constituted by both the length of time and the time that the behavior continues and whether the behavior is done in excess. So a lot of the times when service members get like a DUI, that tends to be something that they try to claim like, hey, it's because I'm an alcoholic, so that's why I was drinking and driving. I can't control it, so due to that, that's why I was driving drunk. So some people tend to use that as part of their reason why they were driving drunk. It was just like, oh, I'm an alcoholic, I drink all the time, stuff like that. And then sometimes other people within that company or platoon or unit can actually identify and be like, look, we have had issues with this guy, where this guy does show up with the smell of alcohol, or early in the mornings when it's PT time, this dude is just sweating out alcohol and stuff like that. Like, stuff like that happens. So this is what it basically says, is disproportionate around time period served. So this is basically the percentage of veterans that Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration estimates that 7% of all veterans, and that was in 2004, 2006. So a lot of these surveys and practices don't get evaluated and redone a lot, because the thing is the VA has to pay for it, or some entity has to pay for it for the study to continue. A lot of these studies, and that's the one thing that surprises me the most with the VA, is just like, you have an allotment for money that should be for surveys and just be put aside like, hey, this is a survey that needs to be conducted on a every 5-year basis or stuff like that, so that way that information is fresh and we can get better numbers. Because this is me just finding it here. It could have been already updated, but it says it's updated there, but the numbers are from a long time ago. So this answers your question. Veterans cannot be directly service connected for alcoholism. However, they can be service connected on a secondary basis for conditions that arise from alcoholism, if the alcoholism is due to a service connected condition. So basically, how we were speaking on like post-traumatic stress disorder is what caused you to drink more. That's a secondary. So that's why it's like your PTSD dependent on alcohol kind of thing. So that's how they tie those two things in. So it's not directly that you can say, oh, I'm an alcoholic. Because the thing is you have to prove that it happened because of the military service. You could have been an alcoholic before you joined the military and just kept on being an alcoholic while in service. And maybe never got caught, never got a DUI, never got in trouble for it because you understood how you had to do it. But it has to be connected to PTSD, basically. So the example they give here is, for example, a veteran is service-connected for PTSD and uses alcohol to cope with their psychological symptoms and sleep disturbances. Because a lot of veterans would do that. Like, hey, I sleep better after I take a shot of this. Not supposed to be doing it. So a lot of people will say that, like, I sleep better after I drink some alcohol or something. And the thing is your body doesn't actually rest correctly because of the fact that your body's under the influence. So your body doesn't recuperate like it should. It just like numbs it out some, and it doesn't actually do you any good. It might help you fall asleep, yes, but it doesn't let your body recuperate like it should. So that's what people don't understand. Oh, it does. Oh, so okay. As a result of this prolonged alcohol use, the veteran develops cirrhosis of the liver. This veteran may be able to receive service-connected compensation for the cirrhosis of the liver on a secondary basis. Here, the veteran's alcoholism serves as an intermediate step between service-connected PTSD and cirrhosis. So basically, it's you tying it into something else that was caused because of it. If you are alcohol dependent and you have PTSD, it makes like the VACs are like, okay, I understand that you developed alcoholism because of PTSD. If you just say you're an alcoholic, there's nothing that says this developed because of that. If you have behavioral health issues, you could probably tie it into that. It's not just PTSD. It's like your depressive disorder or your sleep issues and stuff like that. You may be able to tie it to it, but it doesn't automatically mean that they will approve it. See, because here they show you what the VA rates for cirrhosis. And then it goes into the percentage that you get for cirrhosis. It doesn't go into the rating that you get for alcoholism because there's no such thing. It's a separate claim. Give me 1 second, y'all. I have to change the camera out on here. Let me change the battery out real quick. I'm still on TikTok, so I'll be fine. Turn this off. But yeah, that's the thing. Camera should be back on net. There we go. Should populate. There we go. Had to change out the battery. I forgot to bring my continuous battery since I'm traveling. But yeah, that's one of the information. So that's why it's like while we were searching for it on the CFR, there's no such thing for alcoholism. There's nothing that specifies on alcoholism. You have to have something that connects while you're an alcoholic for the VA to recognize it. So basically in the case, it's like, hey, you have post-traumatic stress disorder. Your PTSD caused you to drink more for you to try to numb the thought process or just like be out of the ordinary orientation. And that's how you became alcohol dependent. So that's why it's tied to PTSD. You have to be able to tie that to something else. And then from there, if you develop a liver issue or something like that, that's how you tie that in again and you post that together. So now it's just like, hey, you have PTSD with alcohol dependence, but that is your main cause. But now your liver has suffered and you have a liver injury because of the fact that you were alcohol dependent. So that's how the VA work stuff. It's just like, that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's not like one-to-one thing. But that's why when you look at the CFR, there's no information on there. They have the diagnostics code, but getting PTSD, this is like, because there's tons of VA lawyers. And I say I don't like going to VA lawyers because of the fact that they do provide you with information. VA lawyers do provide you with information. Now, is it always the correct information? Yes, because they're lawyers. That's what you're paying them to do that. The thing is all these resources are available for you without having to pay anybody. All this information is free. So if you need to obtain information for anything, you have to do that. What if someone has a dependency on certain drugs before you join the military? That's something, so that's the question. What if someone has a dependency on certain drugs before you join the military? Depending on the drugs, if that's something that you have, that's something that you're going to have to state. You have to mention that when you join it. When you're going through MEPS, they do that evaluation for you. And that's something you are going to have to say. Because if you're dependent on it, it's going to show that you're dependent on a certain drug or medicine or whatever the case may be. And it's just like, you need this to do it. Like with diabetes, or you might need insulin or something like that. That's something that needs to be known by the military. Because then the thing is you become basically like government property is the best way of saying it. That's the best way of putting it. You are government property. So if you don't have... Oh, damn, I didn't even notice that question. It popped up. Recently, so I had a question here by Benny DeMarble. I didn't even notice it on YouTube. Question was, recently awarded IU, which is unemployability at the 70%. So basically, he's at 70%. But how long does this VA take to make P&T? My VSO told me it takes 2 to 3 years. It depends, Benny, on multiple factors. It's just like, just because you got the TDIU, which is the unemployability, basically they leave you at that point. For you to get to that point, I don't know. It could take 2-3 years. It could take longer. Because the fact is like you don't have any other criteria that gets you to 100%. Basically, they're saying is just like we understand that because you have disability at 70%, you cannot get to 100%, but you can't work. So we're gonna pay you at the 100% rate. Now to get you to the 100%, let's see. So I tend to look this stuff up. But like I said, with alcohol, you have to have it connected to somebody, to something, and that's what you get with the alcohol. That's the only way to do it. Alcoholism and liver disease. It has to be connected to something to do it. Yeah, when it comes to marijuana, you can't smoke marijuana in the first place, so you're not going to be able to join. In that case, no matter what, if you deal with marijuana, you're not going to be allowed into the military because that's not something that's accepted. No matter if you're in a state where it's federal and it's legal, you are not going to be allowed to do that. And that's something unfortunate for some, because for some it is a good medicinal reason, but in the military you are not able to use marijuana for no case and purposes. Even though it shows that it does do better for certain things, you cannot use marijuana while in the service. You can't use any of those drugs while in service. If you're used to them or you're dependent, it's just going to happen. You're just not going to be able to do that. So you're going to have to get yourself clean before you join the military if that's what you're trying to do. Let me see if we can find, because the question again was from Benny. How long does it take for the VA to make you 100%? So let's just search for it like this: TDIU to 100% PNT. Yes, a total disability rating can sometimes lead to a permanent total rating of the department. Also known as unemployable, this rating is given to veterans. Veterans with a TDIU are paid at 100% rate, but the VA can revoke that if they become employable again. This rating is given when the VA believes the veteran has little to no chance of recovering from the condition, even if dynamic disabilities are removed. So to answer the question, this is what it says here. It says 2 to 3 years. This is just from like looking it up. A TDIU rating can become permanent after a veteran turns 70 or has received TDIU benefits for 20 years in a row. Now, how exact that is basically off of this. This is the AI overview, which I don't like to give people that information because I like to make sure that people get it from a legible source. Maybe by the time I'm eligible to join the military, it'll change. Nah, that won't change. I'm going to show you that. The military is not going to do that. And this is an example on Reddit. Just a veterans Reddit page where you can find a lot of information. But the thing is like I said, I don't like to give people the information of like Reddit pages and stuff like that. Because the thing is not a secure thing. The CFR does a great job of doing that, of just giving people the information that's needed. Because you get the information there. Let me see if it shows TDIU. Copy that, put this into the CFR. Somebody's coming. Well, sister just got here with the birthday gifts from her mom. Am I sure Reddit does have, because the thing is I go to a website that it is Veteran Benefits, a Reddit page, And that Reddit page provides a lot of information, and they update the information, but they go to the VA or the state law and stuff like that that provides the information. It is not just like an opinion based veterans group, and that's the thing that we have to understand. I'm not saying to go to Reddit and just in general search for stuff. I'm saying go to certain credible things that can provide you information after the fact. So that Reddit, that veterans benefits page, that's where I go to, but they will show you where on the Code of Federal Regulation the information is. So when it comes to like the veterans benefits, that's where I went to find out like what state has what. And what they have linked in is they basically like, so when it comes to like the state benefits. So like if I'm looking for, hey, what benefits does the state of New York have now that I'm here? I can go on that Reddit page, and that Reddit page, it'll send you to the link, and the link will be the state law showing what it provides for veterans benefits. So it's not like it's somebody just typing it up and stuff like that. No, it's literally a law website that has all the laws and stuff. I think is justia.com, which is basically like a lawyer-filled law website that has all the laws basically of the country, it seems like. And you search for it there, and it'll provide that link, and that link is just like a New York State law, and it'll tell you everything you need, and it'll give you the information as to what that is, what you need to get, what your answer is, what the benefits are, and it says it by law. So it's not a thing. You would have to report that. You can report that to the military police. If that's the case, if you have something that did that was an illegal action, you make sure you go to the military police on that installation. If you know where they're at, you do that, or you can just reach out to any military installation and say that, and they can probably try to connect you to whoever it is. But if you're making a claim like that, you got to make sure you have documentation and stuff like that, because an investigation will start and they're going to ask you questions, and not having it, not providing it can lead nowhere. So make sure you have your facts and your stuff straight, and make sure you do report that. Let's see, where we at? What's others? Let's just submit that direct. I'm going by reason full statement sources. Multiple disabilities incurred. No. So that's the thing. This doesn't say anything on here. That's for pension. Let's see what this is. A term program period means between. Oh, it's older. Well, if you have somebody like that that's saying stuff like that on Discord and is announcing it, they'll just like make sure you take those screenshots and provide that, and you can use that as evidence. That's not hard evidence. That's evidence from them saying it. As long as it's able to be proven that that was the user and he is the user, you can use that as evidence to report somebody for doing some shit like that, which you definitely have to report, because that shit does happen in the military and it doesn't get reported enough because some people don't know how to do it. But if you have that screenshot saying that they did something with a minor, you make sure to report that and send that to whatever entity you need to. Shit, you could even send it to the police department and file that, because they will be able to file and find who the person is through their avenue also if you have that. But you got to make sure you report that, so that way that is established and you can showcase that. That's something you have to do. Like that like you should stop the live now and do that now. I don't care. Do that now. That's something you have to. That's something you have to do, and you have to do it as soon as possible. Because the thing is sometimes it's just like service members leave, service members get out, and the thing is then it's just like you're trying to find a person, but then you're saying it's through there. Either they get dealt with in the military or they get dealt with on the civilian side with the police. You can file that with the police and just be like, hey, this is something that I saw. This is something that I'm trying to report. And you can just ask your police station, your nearest one. It's like, how would I go reporting this? This is something that I saw that I want to report, but it has to deal with the military. So that's something you got to keep in mind. It's just like, hey, if this is what you need to do, that's what you need to do. Nah, he just joined, so he's not far along in where he's at. So, but definitely go ahead and do that. Report that to the police, because the thing is you're not in the military, so you don't know how to work that right. But if you report it to your actual police department, they can go ahead and contact. It'll probably be like the CID, the Criminal Investigation Department of the military, and they will do that, and they will look into it further. And then you have that thing, but make sure that when you're going on to them. Plus, I did kind of threaten. That doesn't help your situation, but at the same time, you still have the information showing, like, did you threaten that you were going to report them or something like that? Or did you threaten them in other manners? Don't say what you were going to do on here, though, because then that might cause an issue. But if it was something that it was like you're going to report him and you threatened to report him, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you said something other than that, that's where it might get kind of sticky for you, but you still need to, I still say you need to report that situation, because that's something that we cannot have in our military. Something that happens in the military and sometimes doesn't get reported enough. So if there's an issue, make sure you are saying what you have to say for it and make sure it's there. This doesn't. This is for the special monthly compensation, but that's the thing. Depending on like the question on YouTube, that was it. No, I know. I understand you getting upset, but that's something you can explain. Like, you got upset and said things you probably shouldn't have said, but at the same time, it's just like you need to go ahead and report it. That's the main thing. You have to report it. Like, yeah, you said things because he said something and was probably gloating about it and laughing about it. Now the thing is just like tying that Discord. Excuse me. Tying that Discord message to the actual individual is where the hard part is going to be. Unless they announce like, hey, this is this and I'm this, my name is this and that, and you know all their information, it's going to be difficult, because the thing is anybody can make a Discord account and anybody can go on and say something, and it could be easy for him to just be like, oh, you excused? Huh? What? But that's something that is just like, you have to, like, that's where it's going to be hard, because the thing is like, a lot of people post stuff like on Reddit. People post some wild shit. People post wild shit on Discord and stuff like that. It's just you being able to tie it to that person, because the thing is it's going to be hard. If you know all that info, report them that way. Oh, I didn't even realize. Thank you. But if you have an incident like that, you have to make sure you are reporting it. Make sure you are saying it. Make sure you take it. If you have all this evidence and you have, print that shit out. Like, this is the documentation I have. This is showing that he said this. This is his information because I gathered it from somewhere else. And this is what I'm bringing to you. I need y'all to help, because I'm trying to report this and file this, because this is a person that's serving in our military right now. And do it like that and report it that way, so that that gets taken care of. Because that's something, like I said, that's something that happens in the military, and there's no need for that, and there should not be anything like that in our military. No matter what the case is, nothing like that should happen in our military, where somebody does anything to anybody else without consent or minor, whatever the case may be. That has to be reported. So that's your duty for the rest of the day, the weekend, till you do it. Shit, you already messaged me anyway. Just let me know when you got it done and anything, and that's it. But information like that, if people are gloating about stuff like that, that's something that has to be reported no matter what. Or just, especially if you already have the information and you know how to get that information, it's easier to report that person and show like, hey, this person said this is what they were gloating about. Now I don't know who the person was that it happened to, but we can probably find them or ask him questions on the situation, because he's the one talking about it. So make sure you go ahead and report that. And then I'm still trying to get back to this Benny question about the how long does it make to PNT? Like it changes. No, it's not gonna help your case. It's not, but you can just be like you can say that you tried to do that to get the information out of it. I don't know how like you're basically trying to extort him to get him to basically admit to what he did. He already started talking about it, so that's basically confession of himself. But the thing is now it's getting him to admit that he did it, and then admit that it was actually him on his Discord. Because anybody could just be like, "Oh, my Discord got hacked." See what I'm saying? So that's where it makes it difficult for you to be able to get that information. So that's why I say gather all you have and put it like that and do it that way and then report them. But like I said, take it to your police department. Don't do it through the military yet. Take it to the police department, file the report that way, and then say like, hey, this is a military service member that has been doing this and he's gloating about it on there. I didn't know how to report it through the military, so I came here to the police department and stuff like that. I might have said some things that I shouldn't have said because I was trying to get more information out of them, and then you explain that. I don't think they're gonna do anything to you because of the fact that you're reporting it. They might not take it as seriously because you said those things, but they're still gonna look into it, and at least the matter gets observed and looked into. That's what you need to make sure happens. That's the biggest thing, making sure that that actually happens. But yeah, I can't find any valid information on this. I don't know why that VSO said. Because if you just got unemployability, when people get unemployability, it's basically that you have a rating that's at 70% and possibly another one that's at 40%, which basically doesn't allow you to work. Most of the time, mental health, when you get it at 70%, people file for unemployability because it does deal with your daily issues and stuff like that. But thing is like you don't have anything else that goes to it. So it's basically you're getting paid at that point. But then I think your best bet is to try to make sure you have all your stuff documented to get yourself to 100%, so that you get 100% just without the TDIU. Because the thing is TDIU is meant to just be like that. No matter what percentage you have, you're getting paid at the 100%. Yeah. Make sure you do that. Make sure you get whatever you can, all the information you can, and then report it that way. That's going to be your best bet. Let's see. Um, that's the only thing really. Besides that, is just trying to get information for people. But if you got the information, make sure you report it. Anything like that that happens within the military has to be reported, and people need to understand that even when you're in the military, if you hear something like that or something like that, that needs to be reported and taken care of because that's not the people you want in the military. That's what gives the military a bad name. That's why we have the issues we have because sometimes stuff like that gets reported and nothing happens to it. You have a bunch of the times where you have those senior leaders that get they get caught in certain cases or they do like I can't say the words here on TikTok or well on YouTube I could probably be able to, but on TikTok I know I might get flagged for it. But against people's will, they do stuff like that. With children, they do stuff like that, and it gets reported and it happens. And sometimes nothing comes of it, but then sometimes people don't report it because they're scared of what might happen to them. And that's where it's just like that mentality has to change because it's like if something that happens and you hear something that was said or something was done, you got to make sure you're reporting that no matter what the issue is, no matter what the case may be, no matter where it comes from. You have to make sure that you are saying what you have to say because otherwise you're not helping anybody. You're not helping anybody if you're not saying anything. And you need to make sure that that person is taken care of and that person is removed from the military and thrown into jail so that they can deal with their consequences. But you can't do much else after that. I don't know. I don't know how you would go about it in an anonymous manner. That I do not know. That I I wouldn't even concern myself with making it or not. Like, because the thing is you just want to make sure report it just like or it's just like a group of people report it or something like that. You don't have the time to do it. It was like, look, man, that's why I say you got to make time. Because stuff like that needs to be reported. Stuff like that cannot be let go of. It was like you seen it, you got to say something. See, like they say something, say something. That's something you got to make sure you do. If you saw that, you witnessed it, they said it, and you were there when that happened, you got to say something. You can't stay quiet about it. Because if that person did it that one time, there's nothing that says they won't try to do it again because they got away with it this time. So that's something that's why I say people need to make sure to do that. Yeah, guys, I ain't got much else. Hasn't been much else on the. I only got one question on this. Okay, there you go. That works too. I don't got much else when it comes to the disability stuff. I haven't really had any much questions. I don't know. You've been the main question asking person. And then that question about the unemployability and it takes maybe 2 to 3 years. I don't know that it just takes 2 to 3 years to do that. That's the one thing. I don't know how long it takes. Let me search for it. See if I find another way of saying. So I just like hearing you talk. Why? Thank you. I don't know if that's. Is it the voice or is it just me talking? I don't know. How long does this take? CDLU. Okay, so I asked ChatGPT. Both you very educated. Well, thank you. Thank you. I try. I try. I try to educate myself and I try to educate those around me. Just so that they're better off. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So let's see. This is what ChatGPT did. So let me switch it over so y'all can see it on YouTube. This is what ChatGPT said that transitioning from total disability individual unemployability to permanent disability involves several factors and there is no time frame. So basically, one person can do that, and they could you can file for it, you can file and get the unemployability, and it depends on your ratings, depending on why you're unemployable, depending on what it is that you're dealing with as issues, and how that contributes to you doing that. Basically says there's no specific timeline for transition from TDIU to PNT. It depends on the individual case, the nature of the disabilities, and the evidence provided. Some cases may transition relatively quickly if the medical evidence clearly supports permanency, while others may take longer if there are uncertainties or if the VA requires further evaluation. So basically, straight to the point, it's just basically saying like, look, there's chances of you being able to, you can receive TDIU, which it is possible if you get the 70% in one rating and 40 in another, or I believe it's 60 in one and the other. Not entirely sure where that one leads to. This is weird working off my computer because I'm on a laptop now. I don't have. Damn, did I just close that window? I definitely did. Where is the CFR? But yeah, that's the thing. See, I told you. I knew. That's where the problem lies when it comes to dealing with stuff. And then that's the thing. Now it's gonna be hard to do that. Because the thing is that's why I said, like, with Discord, Reddit, and stuff like that, people be posting some wild stuff. And the thing is some people could just be like, hey, somebody hacked into my shit. Or look, like, he went ahead and just deleted his account, basically because he saw what he did. He gloated about it. Y'all said y'all were going to report him. And now... So then if you know the victim, then have him report it. That's not even... You don't need all that evidence. If they are willing to speak on it, which I know is a tough situation. I know it's tough to come out and say something happened to them, but they need to. Whether that's going to get mental health care or something like that after the fact or during the fact, or like right now, they need to go and report that. That's the thing, and that's why I said that's another problem that we have. It was just like a lot of the times when it comes to issues like this, people don't want to report. People don't want to go through that stuff. People don't. I know. Trust me, it's a very tough situation. The thing is just that it has to be done. I was just like, I know it's hard on people, but it's just like, look, you can go talk to a therapist. You can go talk to people after the fact. But the thing is you have to bring a stop to this. Because the thing is this person is going to do it again. That's what people don't understand. It's just like, it's hard, like, when people don't speak on it, because it's just like, yeah, stuff like that. Don't care about what somebody else said. You went through this issue, but you're trying to make sure that the next person doesn't. And that's how sometimes it's hard to think about it, because you're the one that's going to deal with the issue. You're the one dealing with it. But it has to be said. It has to be reported. This guy needs to be jailed. And the thing is if nothing is said and nothing happens, nothing's going to happen. So it's like, it don't matter. Like, if you have all this information, it won't matter. If she doesn't want to say this person did something, it won't matter what you say, because it's just going to be hearsay. If she doesn't confess to the fact that something happened, whatever you put together, whatever you see, it's not going to do anything. It won't matter. You need that person to be able to be like, yes, this person did that. Is it going to be tough talking about it? Yes. Is it going to be hard to deal with the situation? Yes. But that person has to be able to say, like, yes, this person did this, and that, and that's why I'm reporting it. Or that's why this person is reporting it for me, because I don't have the ability to speak on it. Yeah, I can't. It sucks that you're in this position, but you have to find a way to speak to them or find a way that you can report it. You knew that Chris Hansen start trapping these people and exposing them. I don't got the time for that. I'm sorry, I don't. Buttercup, because the thing is I'm gonna beat the shit out of people. I'm gonna end up in jail because I'm gonna beat the shit out of people if I catch them doing it. I'm not gonna. These people are not. They're gonna get trapped all right, and then they're gonna beat. It's not gonna be how the show shows. The show shows it like a nice. So it's like, oh, you're gonna catch a beat down. There's gonna be random people that's just gonna be waiting, probably like in a closet or in another room. I'm gonna just open it. Nah, don't do that unless you know what the hell you're doing. And I still don't suggest you do that. But if I were to do that, cats, we've been like the dude, like the Disney dude that they caught on Kick. The dude caught a dude talking to a 15-year-old kid on Kick. And it was like some Disney dude, like some big name Disney dude. What happened to that? That shit disappeared off the fucking media. Yep. But the thing is he needs to be punished and go to jail. Because the thing is when that happens, people in jail tend to punish them for doing that to minors. So that's why I was like, you got to report it, because he's going to get his. Once they know why he's in there, he's going to get his. It happens. It happens, because that's something that should not be happening. But that's what I'm saying. It has to be reported, especially if he's in the fucking military. Especially if he's in the military. Because that's a position and that's something that you hold that is just like, you are representing this country. Even though this country sometimes doesn't need representation, because sometimes it be on some bullshit. But that's not something you allow in the military service. That's not something that's accepted. And that's what I'm saying. That person is gonna get theirs once they get to jail. It's gonna happen. That's how it happens. But at the same time, if nothing gets said, nothing gets explained, nobody exposes this guy, nobody reports him, it's not gonna happen. And that's where the issue falls. Is like, gotta make sure that this person is being exposed and talking about it. Because the thing is, if nothing is said about him, this dude is just gonna think it's okay. And that's what happens a lot. In the military, you have people like that. You had like one of the leaders I had was just like, hey, he said it, and it was just like a safety brief, because you have a safety brief every weekend, like before a long weekend or something, like the safety brief before they release everybody. And the guy, the major was like straight up, it's like, look, I know we got predators in this formation, and everybody was just like, oh shit. It was like, not everybody, but there are people here, and it was like, you got to report them. You got to make sure you keep an eye on people, and make sure if you see something that happens, report it. It don't matter who it is or where it comes from. There are people in this formation. They're not going to admit to it, but when you catch them doing it, make sure you report them, and we'll take care of the situation. And that's something, and I respected that man so much for it, because he had the balls to fucking say it where nobody else would. And that was like one of our leaders, like in charge of the whole fucking unit kind of thing. We had like, what, 1,200 people, and he said this in front of everybody, and he just said that shit. So it's just like, you have to say what you have to say. It's just like, it was just like, I know it's tough, but Benny DeMarble, should I file for VA diagnosed migraines and COPD or not poke the bear since I have the... Okay, this is... So the question I just got on YouTube is from Benny. It says, should I file for VA diagnosed migraines and COPD or not poke the bear since I have 100% IU? This is a question that I deal with a lot of veterans. That you will get mixed answers from. My way of looking at the situation is the fact that if you are dealing with migraines and they're that bad that they debilitate you, you are not able to function, you get them multiple times a week and stuff like that, what is it about poking the bear? Like, everybody's like, don't poke the bear. You're not poking the bear if you have your medical documentation, you have your stuff that shows you have these issues. And that's what makes it so bothersome for me, because some people be like, oh, you got 100%, don't file for it. If it's something that can cause death or it can cause bigger issues and you need it to be taken care of, file it. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people just like, hey, if you got diagnosed migraines, the VA is saying you have the migraines. If you're getting the medication for it and all that stuff. Cop car outside. I was just like, what the hell? I was just like, if you have those issues, you have to follow. Because the thing is you can get medical attention for it. And the thing is it helps. That's his problem. I don't know. If that's what he chooses to do, that's his problem. But still report his ass. But that's the thing. People always say with the poking the bear, it's just like, a lot of the times I'm worrisome when people say I don't want to poke the bear. Is it because you lied about your diagnosis or your issues, that you're scared that you might go back and they might remove it? Because the thing is you got to check and you got to make sure the stuff that you're diagnosed with, is it static or is it not? If it's static, it means that the VA understands that these issues are not going to get better. If they're static, they know that. And it's just like, you can ask for your C file. I don't have the information right in front of me. But you can find what your diagnostic codes mean and see whether your stuff is static or not. I got to 100% PNT because I have all my stuff and it's documented. Now, if I still have injuries or something comes up, I'm going to file for it. Why? Because the thing is the injuries I have and the stuff I have is not going to get better. If you have mental health issues, that one is trickier, because the thing is with mental health issues, they can get better or they can worsen. If you go back and you tell them the same stuff that you told them before, or it's gotten worse, they're not going to lower your rating. The rating goes down when you say you have Shit, you have back issues, and next thing you know, you're telling them, "Oh, I just ran a marathon." Bro, you didn't have back issues that badly, like stuff like that. If you got migraines can debilitate you more. That can be a 50% rating because of migraines. Because you got to make sure that it's like, hey, shit, I had a migraine, what was it, 2 days ago? Or was it yesterday when I got here? Woke up with a fucking migraine. I couldn't operate. My first day back on vacation, back home, had a fucking migraine. You have to basically say, hey, look, I deal with migraines. I deal with them multiple times a week. I deal with them multiple times a month where I have to lay down, turn off the lights. I can't do shit. I can't hear sound. I'm rendered basically useless multiple times a month. Yesterday, see? Buttercup. I even forgot what day it was. And it was yesterday I was dealing with the migraine. And that was early in the day when I woke up. And then at night, through medication, a bunch of whatever shit I did, it helped. But if you have that, that's something you can file for. You can file for the fact that you have migraines, and that's another increase the percentage. Because then the thing is like, you got to think about it. If you got 70%, you got 50%. It doesn't get you there because it's 30. So if you got a 70% rating and then you get another 50%, it's 50% of the 30% remaining, which is 15, which will get you to 85%. So you'll get paid at the 90 rate. So is it worth it there? No, but you can still file for it. Okay. Okay. And COPD is a chronic, what is it, COPD? I said it in my head and I forgot what the fuck COPD. Hold on. Chronic inflammatory lung disease. Fuck yeah, you file for that. Sorry for the cursing, but that's something you definitely want to file for. Why? Because that's something that you can die from. Symptoms include breathing difficulty, cough, mucus, substance production, and wheezing, which chronic obstructive pulmonary disease can be tied or linked with sleep apnea also. Which, if you are doing that and you file that you have, let's say you have sleep apnea also, you file that, you have COPD, which gets tied into sleep apnea. So if you do a sleep study and they show that they have that, now you have two other ratings. Now you have you can get a 50% rating for migraines, a 50% COPD. I don't even know how much that one is alone. Let me see. Because that falls under Title 38. So let me just search that up real quick. Let me see pulmonary. Pulmonary. And that goes into respiratory. No. Definitely not. All right, let's see. So let me change this on YouTube so I can go to the window capture so y'all can see this. Larynx, pharynx, disease of trachea and bronchi, bronchitis, asthma, emphysema, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. This is your answer, Benny. If you're still there, this is what I want you to look at. This is what COPD is rated as and what you can get for it, depending on the information when they do that. So basically, you rating it could be a 10 through 100% rate for doing that. And especially when it comes to something breathing wise, if you have a family, basically you have dependents and stuff like that, that's something that I would always suggest filing. Because the thing is if something happens to you and you pass away because of the COPD, your family then receives the indemnity payments, which isn't the full amount, which people think is like the full amount that they receive. But no, because basically, like, once you pass, if you didn't have no issues, your family does not continue receiving benefits. Your payments stop. And that's what people don't understand. But if you pass away because of a service-connected disability, hi, mama. Um, if you pass away from a service-connected disability, your family then receives the indemnity claim, indemnity, I forget what the IDC payments. So basically, your family will continue to receive payments, which right now I believe it's like $1,200 per month, and they'll continue to receive that for the rest of their time till your spouse remarries or something happens with your kids. I forget what it is. But you will still receive those payments. And then from there, you also get certain states, depending on your state, you get benefits where you can have your property tax exemptions and certain exemptions continue to your family because of the fact that it was a service-connected issue. So that's where it comes to, like, when it comes to people saying that it's just like, where'd it go? What just happened to me? Oh, I got this show. Never mind. There we go. So that'll show that. But that's what people don't understand. It's just like, if something happens to you and it's service connected, you get those payments for that. You're going to get a payment. It's not going to be the same benefit that you get, because some people, I had to explain that to another veteran where they were told, oh, they're going to receive 100% of their benefit when they pass or something from that. And that's not the case. You are not going to receive 100% benefit. So if you're at getting paid at 100% right now, they're not going to pay your family 100% if you pass. They're going to pay them that minimal amount. But then there's extra criteria that adds to it depending on certain circumstances, which it breaks it down on the payments. So it's like base is like 1,100 something, and then there's other things that can add on to it that gives you more additional payments. But if you have something like that where, look, obstructive pulmonary disease, that's not something to play around with. That's something that can affect you, and that's something you want to file for. And like I said, if it falls into this criteria, you can look this up. You can go to Code of Federal Regulations and you look it up. Code of Federal Regulations, Chapter 1, Part 4, Subpart B, Respiratory System, and the 4.97. That'll give you the information here where you can look it up, and it gives you the criteria for each rating calls for that. Because the thing is if you file for it and you have that information and you have that 100%, you're going to get to 100% P&T without needing to wait. If you do the migraines, that's another 50% possible depending on what your issues are when it comes to migraines. If it's diagnosed by the VA, that means the VA has it and they have that information. Now, what you have to make sure you're doing is when you're poking, like they want to say, is that the VA is saying that it is service connected. This was caused because of your time in service. Some of that stuff may be tied into PACT Act claims. And that's what you got to see. So you got to ask the VA, well, like when you do that, when, oh, you diagnosed me with this and stuff like that, are you stating that this is a service connected issue? Because if you are doing that, then you can put that in there, and it's just like a service connected. You can try to ask the VA or your primary to give you a nexus letter connecting it, saying like, hey, you diagnosed me with this, and it's because of my time in service that I developed it. And that's something that you have to do, because the thing is, it's not always the poking the bear issue. Is like a lot of people want to say it's poking the bear. The thing is if you're poking the bear and you don't know what the hell you're doing, that's when you're just poking the bear. That's when you're doing this, and it's just like, I'm hoping I'm gonna get the right response. You poke the bear, like, hey, bro, this is what I got. There's two different ways of poking the bear. There's the little tap of the poking the bear, and then there's that poke, like, hey, I got this issue, I need compensation for it. And people don't realize that. If you're poking the bear and you don't have the right documentation and the right stuff like that, yes, they open up the evaluations for your stuff. But the thing is if it's a static situation, they're not going to check that. Like, hey, my degenerative disc disease, it can only get worse. Like I said, cartilage is not going to spring back up in between my discs. So it's not like I'm going to get a lower rating because of that, because I still deal with the issues. But the thing is if I start doing backflips and stuff like that, then my back isn't as bad. I can't do no fucking back. I can't even play basketball, and I love playing basketball because of how it bothers me. But that's stuff that is just like, you got to notify them. If you're dealing with issues like that are major issues, you should always file for it just to protect yourself. Help yourself get assistance, because the thing is, if you're dealing with that and you're not getting any VA benefits for it and it's not service connected, I'm not sure they're going to try to pay for it. But if you go, now you can get an outside source and you can get an actual medical doctor to get it, and that helps. But that's all information that is just like, people tend to say you poke the bear. It's just like, if you're at 70% and you're okay with it, that's fine. The 100% disability, the permanent and total, the benefits that you get from that, from getting up to that next level, is the fact that, like, hey, if you have family, your family gets a you get the Chapter 35, which is the dependents DAE, or the dependents assistance, basically. So if your family members are in college, they get a monthly stipend while they are submitted in college. So basically, my wife can get a stipend. My daughters, when they become of age, can get a stipend monthly while I am 100% PNT to do that. When you're 100% PNT, you get Champ VA. Champ VA is basically a secondary insurance. So basically, if you have a primary insurance with your health insurance, wherever the health insurance may be, you will get a second insurance on top of it. So no matter what you file, you might have like a copay or something like that you usually do. Champ VA covers the other half. So you may not need to, like, you will get medical attention without having to pay for it. That's another benefit from there. Some people need that, some people don't. But if you have issues that you need to file, you need to get that documented, because it needs to be in service. You need to set that paper trail. And if the VA is saying that you have it and it's service connected, file for it. Now, when people poke the bear and they don't do the shit the right way, that's when they come into issues, when they have stuff that's there like, oh, I filed for this, but I didn't have no documentation. But it's like, a lot of people tend to do the whole poking the bear thing and trying to file for extra stuff is when they try to put stuff as secondary. And that's what a lot of veterans don't talk about. And that's why it pisses me off when they say that, because a lot of people don't talk about that they want to add secondary, because that's how a lot of people get their claims higher, is by claiming secondary effects. So if I'm saying that I have let's say a knee issue, right? My right knee is messed up. So my right knee is causing me, to limp and stuff like that. And it's putting pressure on my left hip now because I have to compensate on it. You just filed for a hip, right? But the thing is that's secondary to your knee. So now they're going to evaluate your knee to make sure that your knee is still bad, to then verify and check to see how bad your hip is. And that's what people don't talk about. People just say, it's not like people are filing a lot of stuff and they're just saying like, oh, do this. I just filed for knee injury. I was like, okay, was the documentation and service connection? If you have it and you can show that it's an issue and you can't move it and stuff like that, and it's diagnosed by an outside doctor or even the VA, you're not poking the bear because you have the ready available evidence to provide that. If you don't, that's when it becomes a poking of the bear, or just like a hit or miss kind of thing. If it's an automatic hit, like, hey, look, you got COPD, it's diagnosed, and they have documentation showing it, you're not poking anything because you're filing a claim that the VA is basically supporting you to file. Like I said, the VA is not going to file anything for you. Whatever issues or ailments you have, the VA is not going to go out of the way and be like, you know what, Benny, I'm going to file the COPD. No. Because they see it as, do you want to file it? You got the evidence, but we're not going to do it for you. If you don't want to file for it, and that's the thing. And a lot of people get scared because of the poking the bear, but a lot of the poking the bear is you filing for secondary stuff. If you file for secondary stuff, yes, they can open and reevaluate both the things you're doing because you're saying it as a secondary. Like a lot of people, that's what they do. They tie stuff together with secondary claims. They got migraines, so they got tinnitus that led to migraines, and then the migraines led to something else, to insomnia and stuff like that. It was just like, you see that whole continuation and that combination of stuff is what poking the bear does, because you had tinnitus, which led to the ringing in your ear, which led to migraines. Now the migraines that you had so much they bother so much that you don't get no sleep, so it causes insomnia. So now you basically have a hearing rating, a head rating, basically a migraine rating, and you have a mental health rating. So what's going to happen is they're going to evaluate all three. The tinnitus, they can't really check for, but they're going to do an audio test on you. If your hearing has gotten better, or from the last time they tested, your hearing is better, okay, we don't have to give you the same percentage because your hearing got better. It was just a temporary issue. Now you might lose a rating there. Now you go to the migraines, it was just like, well, if your hearing got better and you're not dealing with the tinnitus as bad, you're not dealing with as many migraines, and when we asked you, you didn't say you had the same issues, your migraines get reduced. Now the fact that you chose insomnia also because of that, was like, well, if your migraines ain't doing too bad, your insomnia should be getting better. You see what I'm saying? It's like a trickle effect that people don't talk about, and that's what a lot of veterans don't understand. I was just like, it's not poking the bear if you have the stuff and you have the documentation and you can show it and document it and are diagnosed with it, it's there. Your information is there. There's nothing to poke about because you're gonna get it filed away and you're gonna get a claim for it. Because the thing is you're at unemployability anyway. The only thing that's gonna add to is gonna add more stuff on there, and it's gonna get you closer to that actual 100% PNT. Which the more you file and the more stuff you have, then it's just like, okay, you're permanent in total, because it's like we can't get you any higher. You're not gonna get any better. But people need to understand that. And that's what it is. It's not poking the bear. You need to, if you have the information you need to file, you need to file it. It's not about poking the bear, because that's what aggravates me a lot with veterans. It's just like there's too much fear mongering when it comes to veterans and telling them what they need to get assisted. The other thing is just like a bunch of channels on YouTube. They just be like, oh, the mental health ratings are going to change. The mental health ratings are going to change. So you scare the shit out of fucking veterans to be like, oh shit, I got to hurry up and do this. And it was just like, the proposed changes for mental health have been in talks for the past fucking 4 years. Nothing has fucking changed. And that's what people go off of, just like, oh, you need to file now because veterans. It's like, no, file correctly. Don't give a fuck if you got the issue, because if you don't have the correct issues and you don't have the issue, then that's the problem. If you have shit that's wrong with you, it shouldn't matter when you file it. Like, the rating numbers may change, but the thing is you're still going to get that rating for it because you have that issue. Now, if you're just trying to file quicker because you know you can get a higher percentage rate because you're exaggerating the shit, that's the problem. And that's what that fear mongering of service members is what irritates me, because it's just like, this is going to happen. Like I said before, the one change that happened was the digestive system for like GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, and that stuff changed. Nobody spoke about that. None of these fucking bigger channels made a big issue or a statement of just like, oh, this is something that was proposed. I was just like, no, the biggest thing is mental health, yes. But you keep on scaring people to say it's going to change, it's going to change. It's like the proposals have been going since 2000, where they have been mentioning, 2020, that they have been mentioning that changes are going to come for mental health, for sleep apnea, for all this other stuff, and nothing has actually came about. Until it's not signed into a law, it's not going to happen. And that's what people need to realize. Until it's not stated in policy and in law, like, hey, on this effective date, this is when the changes happen, that's when veterans need to worry about it. Till then, all these people just talking about, oh, this is going to change, this is going to happen, it's just full of shit. And it's just like, it worries you. And that's the same thing with the whole poking the bear thing. It's just like, if you have your disabilities, you have your documentation, you have your information correct, you're not poking anybody. You're giving them the information they need to give you the rating you deserve. If you're poking, it means that you're trying to get something out of something you do not have. You got it? You're not poking. You're giving them the information that they are supplying you with to get you the rating you deserve. If you're trying to reach for stuff, that's when you're poking the bear. It's just like, oh, I'm at this percent. I was just like, no, you got to take, at the end of the day, you got to take care of yourself. Some of y'all veterans is just like, they're just out to get the money. Plain and simple. It's just for the money. I don't give a fuck about anything else. They're not really that hurt. They're not really dealing with it. It's just like, and then you got certain veterans that don't know what they're doing and don't got those ratings and don't have those benefits, but then they get mad at other veterans that do. I was just like, if you don't go about the process the correct way, you're not going to get anywhere. That's why I have that other video that I have on YouTube. It's just like, changing the way you think when you file. You have to file to make sure you win, not just to file. But that's to here and there. But if, like I said, if anybody has issues, disability questions, ratings questions, just y'all can ask me. Like, look, I'm not no expert. I'm not gonna say I'm an expert. I don't believe in experts, but we will find a regulation where you are gonna get your information from and get it from. For you to get awarded, like the VSO, it just basically says it on there. It can vary. It can go from 2 to 3 years. It can happen in a couple of months. It can happen in a bunch of years. There's no timetable for you to get that change. Because I know a couple of people. I had a veteran that's been out for like 10 years, and he's been collecting TDIU for 10 years. He's still at TDIU. Hasn't filed anything. And why did he say he didn't want to file it? Because he was scared that stuff was going to change. Veterans just need to do a better job of educating themselves and getting educated to be able to file and be able to enhance their lives and be able to take advantage of the benefits and entitlements that are available for them. But yeah, that's it, y'all. I'm gonna leave it at this. I've gone for 2 hours and 15. It is my mother's birthday. And she allowed me to do this because I shouldn't have done it, but I did it anyway, just to make sure I showed people up and stuff like that. So I'm off to celebrate my mother's birthday. We're going to go out to eat somewhere. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. Benny, thank you for the questions. Hopefully I was able to assist you and stuff. I don't know. Thank you for tuning in on TikTok. Buttercup, thank you for tuning in. Everybody on TikTok and on YouTube. We'll do this again on next Sunday. We're going to keep on doing it every Sunday. That's our thing. Hopefully just spread the word so we can get more people educated and stuff like that. But I appreciate you, Benny. Like I said, if you got any other questions, I do this every Sunday. Don't hesitate to ask. It's just like sometimes it's like some veterans need to hear things that they don't hear on other channels because other channels are just trying to exploit veterans to get more viewers. I'm trying to give you the real facts and the statements that people need to hear that they don't hear because most of the time if one of these other channels says that, like, oh, well, if you do this, you might not come back. And I'm okay with people not coming back to this channel. But at least you left educated and know something else. If you got the issues, file for them. There's nothing wrong with filing for issues that you know you have. When you filing for issues you know you don't have, that's when karma catches up and you lose that rating because you didn't have the shit in the first place. But I appreciate. Thank you. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna go celebrate my mom's birthday. Appreciate y'all. Y'all be good. Y'all take care. Cruz. Signing out. Peace, peace, peace. Up here, down there, up here, up down. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all.